Alright, I think it is May 8th or 9th. Saturday, day before Mother's Day. I'm going to open up the bees here. They've been here for 2 weeks now. We opened them up last week. Added a second super on top, which is mediums. I'm running all mediums on that. Also want to take a look at this top bar hive I made. See, I got the smoker going right here. I'll move it out of the way for just a minute. Actually, I'll go ahead and smoke the bees. Put them a little bit in the top here, let that soak in. And take a look at the top bar hive real quick. So the idea of the top bar is cost savings. You can throw together a couple of 1x10s. See, there's a wasp coming in and out of there. There's no bees in here yet. There's actually a landing board. There's 3 holes. I have one stopped up right now. Should be getting a nuke next week. Got a little accordion hinge here, or a whatever that hinge is, to open the lid. I got a window in here, and actually that wasp is serving a purpose here. I don't know if you can see them flying around or not on the camera. That's the observation window. We'll be able to see the bees working in there. You won't have to open up the hive as much. Have the door set up on a chain. There, lid just opens. Just made this this little feeder here. And with the top bar hive, you have follower boards. That's how you direct the bees to where they can draw more comb out. Instead of adding a super, what you do with a top bar is start out with a nuke here, maybe a follower board here. You just move that bar further back as you want to add more comb, give the bees more access to more comb. So I've made a quick feeder here, just out of a scrap piece of plywood. All I did was put the mason jars in, cut around it, and then stapled some number 8 hardware cloth. So that should work out pretty good. Won't have to worry about the bees coming up through it. I'll have the follower board here against the side, so that seals them out. Be able to get in here and fill those as needed when we need to feed. Shouldn't need to feed too much. So that's a look at the top bar. Let's crack open the beehive and see what process we have going on here. We opened it up last week. Didn't see any honey. Had a lot of capped brood and stuff going, and I'm expecting to see some capped honey today. Bees have been working this last week, actually 2 weeks, really throwing out some pollen. Saw a lot of nectar last week. So a lot of nectar last week, but didn't see any capped honey yet. Break this box apart here. I'm just using a knife. I pick this box up and put a little smoke in. Put it down nice and easy. Don't squash too many. Give them a minute to soak that up and put these gloves on. So I'm going to be taking a look today, just see what it's looking like. Hopefully see some capped honey. Want to see a lot of capped brood. We'll look for some more, some eggs, some larvae, make sure we've got a working queen in there. bees right now in early May should be really booming up, making more bees so they can bring in more pollen and more nectar to turn that into honey. So that's what we want to make sure everything's falling along those guidelines. If we don't see any larvae or eggs, and we assume we're without a queen. But these bees have been really, I can come out and sit and watch them for a few minutes. There's no issues. Usually that tells you have a queen in there and they're working pretty good. So let's take a look. Take the cover off here. I'll let you look real quick inside. There's a feeder box in here. I put some sugar water. They really hadn't been using it, so I'm not going to give them any more. We've got a good source of pollen, and I'm assuming nectar coming in. So I'll let them clean that up. I'm not going to give them any more. So I'm going to take this screen top off, and we'll be in the bees. Put this super on last week, and it is pure beeswax, no wire or anything. And every other, I did basically a checkerboard. Every other one has just a starter strip, because I'm hoping to harvest some comb honey. Everything's stuck down, it's propolized. That's what bees do. So I don't have any retarded bees, that's a good sign. Kind of work to the edges here. You want to make sure you don't squish any bees. That's a sure way to get a sting. Alright, give them a little bit of smoke. So we see, looks like they moved up into this third box. We see a real small cluster of bees here. I'm not sure if you can see inside there. It looks like because some working on some new comb. We'll give them a little puff of smoke, let them go inside there. Go ahead and take this whole box off, and we'll get done for the one underneath. So you can see right here, edge of this strip is started. This is pure beeswax we bought. They've started attaching that with their own beeswax onto the side here, and they'll start building this out, and this will be all honey. A lot of bees in here, a lot of bees, good sign. Smoke my hands here. Moving slow. Take this first frame out, set it to the side, that way we have room to work. Kind of checking for the queen. Let's put this right here on the side. Clean it up. Oh yeah. We have a load. I don't know if you can see all this black shiny stuff in here. That is nectar, soon to be capped honey. Once it gets down to I think 84% water content, they will put a cap on that, and that will all be honey. There is every one of these cells here that does not have nectar in it. I can see it looks like a little grain of rice sticking up, and every one of those is a new bee. That is an egg. You can see a bee right here putting some in, filling it up. That's what they're doing. They're filling these up. The little orange is pollen coming in. That's what the baby bees feed. That is all baby bees. So these have been laid within the last day. There's a high probability the queen may be on here. Take a look at the other side. And not seeing any eggs on this one. Go ahead and put it back in. Right, it's in another frame here. These are all cap babies. These should be hatching here. See a couple that are uncapped with looks like big white worms in them. That's larvae. And those should be hatching in another week. This thing is loaded again. Babies on this side, cap bees on this side. So that queen is doing her job. Supposedly At least he can lay between 2,000 and 3,000 eggs per day during the season. It is the season. Scooting over a couple combs here. We'll get back to this black one. 2 weeks ago there was a bunch of cat brood. Those should all now be hatched. Look at the smoker here just a second. Yeah. So all this thing was wall-to-wall capped 2 weeks ago. There's a little patch here in the right corner, a little patch on the left. Bunch of nectar up on top they haven't capped yet. I just went in the shade so I can't tell if there's eggs in there. There is a bunch of new bees that have hatched this last week. You can see all that nectar. It should be shining. In that top corner, the bees are filling it up. That smoke will settle them down. Yeah, we're seeing some nectar throughout the middle of this. Everything else had brood on it throughout the middle. This one has nectar throughout the middle, so this looks like it's going to be all, that has honey along the whole thing, which I'm about to take me a little knife full to taste. See, I'm just kind of working my fingers here. You can just run your fingers up there and they'll get out of the way for you. As long as you don't squish one, should be a pretty good chance you don't get stung. everything back up. Right, put this frame back on here.